Hey, good afternoon. What day is this? Is it Thursday? It's Thursday. Welcome to what do we say? Allergy season? No, come on, Ref. Welcome to Come on,
Yes,
Ref. It's not allergy season. It is allergy season, though.
it is.
Honestly, it's back to school, which means I won't be able to breathe for the next. I don't know. Somehow I'm allergic to things in the winter too. How does that even happen? Like what? Why? As I get older, like do you guys? Well, Ben, you're not old enough yet, probably, to realize what even getting old.
Chad, you're just supposed to be an inside person.
I think that's it. I'm an inside person. Put me in the air conditioning. Give me my air scrubber, my air cleaner. Whatever. I'm fine. I'll still sneeze. It doesn't matter. Anyway, welcome to Come On Ref. It's Thursday afternoon. It's about 2:00. It's another warm day. It's not. Kids are back in school, but summer hasn't quit yet. It's like 80 degrees outside. It feels way warmer than that. I don't know if you guys have been outside the last couple of days, but yesterday it was like 78 degrees. And we had like the kids meet the teachers. We were back and forth, wherever. And I was sweating so bad. I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, am I nervous to meet the teacher? Like, I don't know what my deal is, but it's just really hot and humid.
Chad walked in the school doors and was like, "Oh no, not again." He's like, "I
Well,
got out
yeah,
of
I
this place."
instantly feel like I'm in trouble. Like, I look at the corner, like, okay, which corner do I stay? Like, what's the cleanest corner, right? Where do I go? Yeah, man, old habits. They die hard. Die Hard, by the way, is a Christmas movie. Sorry, Brian. I know we
I
talked
agree.
about this before. I sorry. As Brian signs out. What do you guys want to talk about today? Probably not Die Hard. It's too early. I don't start watching Die Hard until at least after Thanksgiving. Then it leads up to Christmas because it's a Christmas movie.
Wait, you haven't been watching Christmas movies yet, dude? I start in January.
You start. Okay, that's fair. So you're all year round Christmas kind of guy. I like that.
Actually, well, it depends. Sometimes I do. Sometimes it's July because Christmas in July. But
fair enough. Okay, so sometimes you skip that 6 month, and
I do.
I get it. I understand. Well, that's fine. Christmas is coming up. You better start shopping. I mean, it's 3 months away now. Like 4
no,
months
I wait
away.
till the 24th.
It's fine. Yeah, usually everything's in stock.
Yeah, you still do sometimes.
Yeah, I've definitely ordered some presents on like the 21st. Like, please get here in time. I've done that.
Well, I've started on the 24th for years.
Man, that's actually impressive. Like the commitment level to that, and like I mean, you're probably pretty successful, right?
Yeah, although some of it was I was working retail at the time. I was working at Macy's.
Okay.
And they started decorating so early that I just kind of tuned it out.
Yeah.
And then one time I was getting ready to leave, and someone's like, "Hey, man, have a Merry Christmas tomorrow." I was like, "Tomorrow?" like,
oh no.
Yeah. And it happened 2 years after that. I was like, "You do anything for Christmas tomorrow?" I was like, "Oh, damn, that's tomorrow." All right.
Like as far as like our port, like so my wife and I used to buy each other a lot of presents, before we had kids or whatever. Now we kind of let, Christmas take care of itself there. But I kind of miss like going to the mall and like buying stuff and like picking out like, I don't know, clothes for my wife and like trying to figure out I don't know, man. I kind of miss that in a way. Everything's just so impersonal now. You order it online,
My favorite last minute Christmas shopping was my dad wanted AirPods for Christmas a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And it's like we were looking online, like what, retail stores, still had some in stock.
Yeah.
And we found one in Medina that had AirPods still. And so me and my brother both got off work at the same time. We're like, hey, we're going straight there. We should just pull up in our work clothes, like literally sprinted inside the store, ran to the back. We're like, you guys have any AirPods left? Like the one guy jokingly, he's like, nah, man. He's like, we're all out. And he's like, I'm just messing with you. We got the last pair and he gave us a discount too.
Man, it was kind of Christmas miracle. I love it.
It was. We walked in. He's like, jokingly, he goes, how much you guys want these for? I was like, $1. He's like, okay, I can't do that.
Yeah.
But he gave us like a $30 discount. So
that's cool.
It was
man.
it was cool. That's like nice. We went in, we were like we're both sweating out of breath. He's like, you guys okay? We're like we literally ran here.
It's funny. Just ran in from the car. It's like 18 feet away. I need to work on my car. Yeah. Sorry. Trust me, I'm there. I get it. Oh man, that's really funny. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of miss that in a way. I miss going into places and like shopping and looking around and trying to find like I miss being a kid, okay, and going into stores around Christmas time. And like I swear everything was like brighter, right? Like the colors were brighter, the packaging was like more aggressive, like everything looked amazing when I was a kid. I was like, how am I ever gonna pick anything, man?
Yeah. Stuff stood out more.
Yeah, it did. I swear, But it's just like going into the store. One of my favorite Christmas things, like looking for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? I can't remember. I had 3 of 4, and I can't remember which one the 4th one was that you couldn't find anywhere. but somehow that made it kind of like exclusive. Like when we were kids, man, that was like it was
Yeah.
fun to go around and look at. Yeah, I don't know, like I could never find like the Joker out of the Batman set, right? Like the Joker action. It was hard to find the Joker. Like when you finally found him, it was like, man, got it. Like it was so satisfying. It was like you collected the full set or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was
It's
it
really
was like
weird.
it's kind of like with those like exclusive baseball cards. Like you get like the whole collection. You're trying to find that one, but you can't find it.
Yep.
It was like I saw a
Yep.
I saw a.
And by the way, you could forget about finding that one card because a breaker is going to open that card. Like that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Forget about finding that card.
But I saw a minor league baseball player there was a set of cards that came out. I think for Topps, I think it was like the rainbow set.
Okay.
And he had every color except for the red one, and the red was a 1-of-1 signed one.
Okay.
And he was looking for it, and somebody had pulled it out of a pack. Wasn't a breaker; he was just a collector.
Okay.
And the guy posted something online and was like, he's like, hey, I'm looking for, this last card. It's a 1-of-1. And the guy DMs him a picture of it and says, I have it. He goes, he's like, I'm coming to the game this week. He's like, I'll meet up with you. I'll give you something. I don't need anything in return. The guy gives him a bat. He gives him a signed bat.
Was it the guy from Seattle?
Cleat. I think so.
I saw this. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, he gave him like a signed bat, a signed shoes, signed batting gloves.
That's cool.
Like everything just to get his card.
That's cool, man. That's a true collector, right? Like he was happy to
yeah.
get. You got to give something back in return. That's really cool, man. That's really, really cool.
And the guy tried not accepting his gear and the pictures, and the guy's like, "No, you're taking it." He goes, "I got my hand on the card." He goes, "You can have this stuff."
I get it, man. I hope to have a story like that one day. I swear, anytime I buy a pack of baseball cards, I open like 4 Jazz Chisholms and like just a bunch of other comments. Like I don't know. Jazz Chisholm's the guy. I don't know why. He's all over the place. By the way, did you say he was voted the most overrated player in Major League Baseball by other players?
I did.
That's rough,
man. Ouch. It's bad enough to get that, but to buy your peers.
Yeah, and that's tough, man. And I like Jazz. He's a good guy. I don't know what that happened,
now he plays for the Yankees.
And he's doing okay. He's like, he's
until he tore his UCL, but
or
until he hurt his elbow.
Yeah,
but
that's okay.
Speaking of the Yankees, before we get into our topics,
okay.
You see, Gleyber Torres has made the most errors, but refuses to move from second base.
I feel like they have a coaching staff, don't they? Like they could. Can they not move him? Is he like physically like chained?
I don't know. They said Jazz Chisholm will play third base because Gleyber Torres refuses to move from second base.
Where else are you going to put him though? If he's making all those errors at second, where do you want him?
DH.
Okay, fair. That's fair.
Yeah, or bring him off the bench.
Back in the minors.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Take some ground balls, man. Like, what are you doing?
He leads the league in errors by, and it's like not even close.
He was such a prospect too coming up.
Oh, he was.
That's tough. That's a tough look. I mean, listen, it's not easy, but I guess somebody has to lead the league in errors, right?
Yo, what's up, Aiden Vance? What's up, homie?
Hey, Aiden, what's happening, man? That's good to see you around, man. That's what's up. We got look at that. We got Aiden back in the house, man. I'm about to watch the chat now. All right, Aiden, what should we talk about today? I'm kidding. We already picked some topics. You don't get to pick. It'd be cool if you did, though. Like, what if we did that? What if we just did random, like, you know what I mean? Like, whose line is it anyway type of show. That'd be fun, man.
Yes.
That'd be fun. Get a few people online, just start picking topics, and we can talk. That'd be fun. That'd be a great time. All right, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to wrap up the Olympics. We got to talk about the Olympics, and I just want to get into college football a little bit. Mostly, I just want to talk to you guys about kind of how you feel about the 12-team playoff. We'll get to that a little bit later, though. I don't want to do like a full college football preview, but it's coming up pretty soon, and we'll get to that. But let's get into the Olympics. We won the medal count, right? The overall medal count, the U.S. did.
USA.
There you go, right? That's where we live. That's where we all live. So we're happy. But yeah, did you see it was the first time ever in Summer Olympics history that there was a tie for the lead for gold medals? I can't believe that's the first time it's ever happened.
Yeah, that's surprising.
Yeah, the U.S. and China both ended up with 40 gold medals. And I was just really surprised to hear that that's the first time it's ever happened. But I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, we can take a look at the medal count here, and you can see
it's just crazy though, because like if you look, we have 40 golds, but we also have 40 silvers and 40 bronze. Like the difference between us and China is just crazy with the total number.
It was so consistent. I mean, they're just you've got a bunch of people that are always in the top 3 or 5 of things, and they're always going to finish up there. You know what I mean?
Like we talked about, like just because you get like a bronze medal or a silver medal doesn't mean you're like a failure. Like some people say, like, oh, if you don't win gold, you're not good. Like, dude, winning a medal in the Olympics with all those countries means you're one of the best in the world. Like,
it's unbelievable. It's absolutely.
You're there for a reason.
Listen, if you go to the Olympics and finish 12th out of 12 people in your event, you're amazing. I don't know how to say it any other way. Like,
yeah, you're still in the top 1% in the entire world.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. And listen, speaking of, there were so many memorable moments, right? Like all throughout the Olympics. I mean, you had Katie Ledecky and Simone Biles just proving their greatness. Obviously, Katie Ledecky is now the most decorated female swimmer of all time. Female American too, right? Not the overall most decorated female, but I'm sure if she wanted to come back in 4 years in LA, she could,
Well, I wanted to, while we're on swimming, I wanted to talk about that. I don't know if you guys heard about that guy from France, Leon Marchand. Marchand, how do you pronounce his last name? Yeah. They're saying he's.
We'll get to him. We'll get to him in a moment. Yeah, we'll definitely get to him. Don't worry, Ben. We'll get to him.
I didn't know if you had it in there or not. So.
Yeah, I know that was a pretty big topic of discussion for a while. So
I got some stuff to say on him. So
I'm sure you do, but we're gonna maybe leave that somewhere else for now. And listen, we talked about Katie Ledecky, Simone Biles. Obviously, there were many others. Too many others to mention. It'd be hard to mention everybody that deserves mentioning, right? They're Katie and Simone, but it was good to see Simone Biles get back and kind of do her thing. Brian, you remember we talked about to us, and Ben kind of agreed. I think women's gymnastics is kind of like the main event for the Summer Olympics, right? So it was good to see their spokesperson, their superstar back out there, and she was having fun, right?
Yeah,
it seemed like that was cool.
It's great to see the people like competing at such a high level, like the people who are that talented, like fighting for that best in the world. I think is just great to see. I love the Olympics.
Yep. I used to feel so like crushed and sad for people when they would if they fell off the beam or if they, I don't know, whatever, missed a landing on a vault or whatever. But I just, as I get older, I don't feel that way anymore. It's like, man, you made it to like the absolute pinnacle of sport. Like that's where you're standing is already pretty impressive from my view. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people I guess a lot of people are up higher than that mountain and they like to look down on these athletes, but I don't know. I don't really get it. I don't really understand. I understand that mindset at all. I never will. And listen, Ben talked about it. Listen, there were some not so memorable moments, right? Did you guys watch any? I don't want to hammer anything too bad.
Yes, you do. Don't lie.
Sorry, I know I'm going hard on this joke, and you'll understand if you watch any of the Olympics. But listen, we gotta get to this first. Did you guys watch any breakdancing? Because there were some moments that didn't go so well for some of the athletes, right? In the games.
Is that a dinosaur on the bottom right?
Yes, that's well. Yeah, I think that's the book. Listen, did you see? I know that I'm not trying to make fun of anyone because, listen, if you put me out on that stage and play, by the way, the music for that was amazing music. I was loving the music, man. I was definitely jamming the music.
Yeah.
So if nothing else, you could just look away from your TV. If you really disliked it that much, you could just listen to the music. It was great classic music. They even threw in some French beats in there. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was good to kind of get that full cultural experience of the music. I thought that was pretty cool. But if you put me out on stage and gave me my favorite song of all time, there's no way I'm looking anywhere near as capable as she looked. I know everyone, she didn't get a vote, whatever. She's the worst of the Olympics. That's fine. But again, it's pretty impressive to get there. And then, Ben had his favorite, not so memorable moment of the Olympics. It was a hard one to forget. Certainly loomed large in some people's eyes.
But with breaking, there are a couple things that I saw. The one that saddened me the most is, I've been working with the guy who was the first world champion back in 1986.
Okay.
He's worked with a who's who from Celine Dion to Tupac to Justin Bieber to Usher.
Wow.
Produced the Red Bull breakdance battles. Wow. The first one, he's worked with everybody. And I remember talking to him when we first found out it would be in the Olympics because it was in the 2018 Summer Olympics.
Okay.
The Youth Summer Olympics, sorry.
Okay.
In Argentina. And we were talking about it and, even the talks of him being involved and being in charge of the music. and all of this, and for these people who've worked so hard and who are so good, no one's even talking about them. It's just all the attention was taken away for this woman for stinking it up so hard. And I think it's okay to laugh. I don't like making fun of her, tracking her down, and
no, that's weird.
all of that. But an interesting
harassing her
discussion was
family, which is going on. That's bizarre behavior, man.
That's weird.
That's uncalled for.
But the interesting thing that I think a lot of people, I wasn't familiar with this, like how the selection process happens.
Yeah.
And, we'll discuss it with breaking, but it's the same everywhere. There's a governing body in each country over the sports.
Yep.
So USA Dance, is the overall dance competition thing for the US, whether you're ballroom dancing or breaking, doesn't matter. They oversee it. So if you're not a member of that organization, you don't qualify. They don't just go on TikTok and look up dancers and DM people like, yo, do you want to come to the Olympics? It's not how it works. You have to win sanctioned competitions that are structured in a certain way with certain points in order to qualify. Yeah. So people have to want to do that. And if they don't have the registration money, they can find a sponsor, they can do whatever to get in, and then they've got to win and compete so that we know we're sending the best people. So I saw a lot of people like, oh man, the Jabberwocky should have been in. They would have won for sure. I don't think they would have won. No, I don't think they would have won. I don't think they didn't want to because they didn't enter the competition. They're in residency in Las Vegas. They're fine. They're memorable. They're good. But it's just an ignorance, and not in a bad way. People don't know, why didn't this person compete? Why didn't they? Well, presumably they didn't want to.
And I think you bring up a great point, because listen, there are also a lot of 12 and under, 13 and under little league teams out there that aren't, their cities or their recreational leagues or whatever. They're not members of the Little League Congress. I mean, there's some really good baseball teams out there that don't ever have a chance to make it to the Little League World Series.
Yes.
That we'll never get to see play because of that. I mean, like you said, it's the same thing. But I think you're right. I think a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, and there's just anger at the Olympics when certain things happen, and they don't select who competes.
Yeah.
Here's the Australian delegation, here's the Chinese delegation. Who are you sending? What are their names? What sport? Cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
It's a little bit like being mad at the whole government because one person in one battalion of one branch of the military did something that you disagree with,
Yep.
It's like they're not even aware of each other. You know what I mean? There's no collusion there. It's not like brought to you by the IOC to ruin your life or whatever.
Yep. Well, that was so interesting when Sha'Carri Richardson last time people were mad at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, no, it's not their decision. They have rules and structures that, the organizations underneath have to uphold.
Yep.
And rules are rules. Doesn't matter what things are in different country if that's what the overall rules to compete, or for people who've lost a point in things. And I also feel there's sometimes I realize I really didn't know anything about certain sports. I'd watch diving. I'm like, oh, wow, that was incredible. And they're like, oh, rough landing for that person.
Yeah.
Definitely going to lose a point.
I'm like, that's a 10.
Yeah,
I know.
That looked amazing. I would have given that a 10.
Right. Yeah, they'll never do guest judges in the Olympics. That will never be a thing.
Yeah.
No.
Well, yeah, because then you have people like Dwayne Wade only given 9s.
It would be great. It would be fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah, it would be fantastic. The guest judge score always gets thrown out, but we just want to see, we're bringing the most, qualified professional from home. Because listen, the Olympics are 19 days. By the 19th day, I turn into an expert in whatever sport is on my TV. It doesn't matter if I've ever even seen it or heard of it before. I can start to I'll break down, like you said, man, I'll watch a dive and I'll be like, that was beautiful. I don't care what the judges say. What do they know? What do I mean? It's on my TV, right? Oh, it's so funny. I do it every year, or not every year, but every Olympics. I'm like, what am I doing? What? I don't know anything about. What am I even doing right now? It's funny, but I think we all do that to a certain point. I don't know. Ben had some stuff to say, but I think we'll Just leave that on the pole, on the cutting table. We'll leave that on the cutting table for now. But listen, I want to move on because I'm excited. Like we're gonna host the Summer Olympics next, right? Well, we're not doing anything. I have no part in it.
Us three Olympic committee.
Yeah,
maybe
we've got time
between now and then. Maybe I'll be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's gonna be in Los Angeles, right? In 2028. I can't believe I'm saying 2028. I had to look over at the date to make sure I had that right. Like,
yeah,
wow, I'm getting old. But I'm super excited to check in with Olympic legends Snoop Dogg and Flavor Flav in 2028. I mean, it's going to be exciting, right? Like, we're going to see what they're doing. In all honesty, that was one of the most amazing parts of the Olympics.
For sure.
Dude. I mean, it was amazing watching Snoop just living his life, man, having the most fun I've ever seen anyone have. And then all the stories that were coming out, people were like mad at Flavor Flav because people were finally starting to talk about, like, you know, he had sponsored a few athletes here and there. He was helping people out. Like, oh, he's just trying to hold on to his 15 minutes of fame. Wrong. I mean, wrong. Flavor Flav has been mostly out of the spotlight for a long time. He's doing the right thing. He's a great human being, man. Like,
when USA doesn't cover your flights to Paris, I mean,
nothing, man. Like, it was so crazy learning that how many of these athletes like need so much financial support, and these are people who have everyday jobs. They're not professional with some of these sports. You know, the NBA and WNBA players are, but
right,
you know, water polo is probably not paying. We know it's not paying their bills. So
we know
you have to take off to practice to just even qualify to get on the team, and then,
like you said, association fees. I'm sure that's not cheap. Equipment. I mean, you have to have, you know, absolute top of the line equipment if you're going to qualify for the Olympics. I mean, there's no way around it. I mean, you know what I mean? You got to have it.
Do you hear about the guy? Do you hear about the guy for swimming? His only job is to sit there and get swim caps that sink to the bottom of the pool.
Yeah,
he gets paid for it.
Hey, and I think people maybe misconstrue that job as like the lifeguard. I mean, maybe there is a lifeguard.
No, there is.
People laugh all the time, but you never know. I mean, you're swimming, you know, hundreds of meters. I mean, people can pass out or whatever.
I can give you a story about why there's a lifeguard.
Let's hear it.
So there's a guy from, I forget what country, but he was given like an automatic bid into the Olympics. Or into swimming. Don't know how, don't know why. He was given 18 months to train, and he almost drowned at the Olympics. And so that's why they added a lifeguard now to every single Olympic swimming pool.
He almost drowned because he realized at the last minute he was supposed to be training for breakdancing. And he was like, oh, why am I near the water? I don't do this. What am I doing? That's really funny. And I love that, by the way, that the foreground of that story was Flavor Flav and Snoop, just like giving the thumbs up. And like, that was a good time. But yeah, listen, man, I'm sure it could happen. Like I said, like, people swimming 1,500 meter, whatever. Like, I don't know that right now, just like speaking from a cardio standpoint, I could go from one side of the pool to the other, even at a light jog. You know what I mean? Like, I would need a nap.
I would need a nap.
Oh, definitely a nap, for sure. A nap and probably a hot dog. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'd have to do something.
I might need to stop for like a snack in the middle.
It wouldn't be good. It wouldn't end up well, I can tell you that. Yeah, so that's fun. I'm excited to see that in 2028. Now, look, I mean, Dre has kind of like alluded to the fact that like maybe by then they'll drop an album. Like, he and Snoop have been scheduled to drop this album. This Detox album was supposed to come out in like 2004 or whatever, right? 2003. I mean, a long time ago. So we've been waiting for this thing for 20 years. So maybe 4 more.
I want to ask you guys a question. What sport are you most looking forward to at the Summer Olympics in 2028?
That's a great question. Because listen, I don't know. Like, it depends a lot for me. I mean, I'm gonna be interested in women's gymnastics again. Sure. It's gonna be cool to see. You gotta remember,
baseball's in there, softball's in there, flag football's in there.
Yeah, that's what but now they're just like kind of showcase things, right? They're not coming back full time, baseball and softball. It's just sort of like they did breakdance. It's like it's almost like
baseball is baseball is. Countries can request to have it in. So like when it was in Tokyo, it was in the Olympics. Like, if it's ever in like another country that's big into baseball, it'll be in those.
I remember reading that. But yeah, you're right. I remember reading that. That's right. That's right. So
countries can request sports to be in the Olympics if they really want it.
Okay. No, but you can't request breakdancing from here on. Like, that's out, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's.
I think it has to be in like 3 consecutive.
Oh, really?
Olympics in order to be a mainstay.
Okay.
And you would think this is a sport that we as Americans invented.
Yeah.
We created this. I don't want to say the audacity, but to have that in LA of all places and to not include that is wild.
It seems like a miss. And it also seems like a little bit of a miss to me. If we can go back to it real quick, it just seems like a miss to me. We could have really highlighted the culture and where this came from more. There wasn't enough of that. You know, I feel like we do a lot of backstories on gymnastics. We do the backstories on swimming. We do the back, but we don't need backstories of individuals that we've never heard of in breaking. But like, obviously, this sport came from somewhere, right? It came from like a day of glory, right? I mean, that, you know, you look in the 80s, like in Chicago or New York, whatever, on the streets. I mean, people were literally having like breakdance battles on the streets, right? Like hashing out like, you know, differing opinions with breakdance battle. That's amazing. It's just got such roots in like in hip hop and in the Black community, and just I felt like it was a miss. Like they could have really highlighted the culture of it more and where it came from and the roots and
that's kind of I feel like
some of that happens with politics though. Like sorry Ben, but like real quick,
no, you're good.
You know, not government politics, but when you have you're not including some of the OGs, you're not including some of the originators in it, and you're choosing to go younger, which I understand, there's arguments for it, but when you've got people who are in their 30s and 40s who were trained by people who, Zulu Gremlin was one of the guys, he was supposed to be a part of it, and as it's some of the people that he trained ended up being chosen and selected for this stuff, because I don't know if they're going for a certain look. But you have people who just haven't experienced as much, who can share that history and also check to make sure it's done and representing the culture. But when you have kangaroo jumps, there's not much you can do to keep the attention on the history of something.
No, I feel I mean,
I like the shout out to I like the shout out to the Australian. I like that.
I love
talking about, Brian mentioned about like a legend training people, for breakdancing. I don't know if you guys saw the or heard the story about the American skeet shooter.
No.
So he's won 4 straight gold medals.
Okay.
And it's getting to the point where nobody can beat him. So he's starting to train people to try and beat him.
Oh, that's funny. That's really cool.
In this year's Olympics, 1 and 2 were 2 Americans, and the guy that got silver, he trained.
That's amazing.
So
that's really cool.
So he's getting to the point where he's trying to train people to beat him.
That's funny. Listen, and we didn't even bring up the Turkish shooter. How did I miss that? How did I miss that?
Dude,
that was the most amazing thing from the Olympics for me.
That's legendary. He pulls off. Dude, his quote makes it even more better. He goes, "I don't need special treatment." He goes, "I'm just a shooter."
Right?
Yeah.
Did you see what he said when the camera was like close to him on the medal stand? He said he had a message to his ex-wife. He's like, "Hey, if you're watching, I want my dog back." Dude, please convince me that Turkey didn't just put a professional hitman in the Olympics. Like, come on, dude. This thing was so cold-blooded.
Dude,
I didn't even realize. Listen, I don't know if this was photoshopped or not. Did he really shoot in flip-flops? Was that real?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, that's amazing.
He literally pulled up with just glasses and flip-flops.
They should have made him an honorary judge for breakdancing. Who cares what he knows about it? I don't care. That would have been amazing.
Did you guys hear about the mixed doubles in tennis?
He's the one that filed the. He's the one that filed the thing for Jordan Childs. I heard they actually let him.
Yeah.
That's why it was late, because he was so cold blooded and get it over.
Did you guys hear about that mixed doubles tennis thing that happened?
No.
I forget what country, but the country that won mixed doubles for tennis. It was a husband and wife. They broke up before the Olympics.
Okay.
They had promised each other they would compete in the Olympics no matter what happened. Like if they broke up or not, they end up winning gold.
Okay. All right. So that's that's better than marriage counseling, I think, right?
Yeah.
Working together to solve your problems.
Yes.
They literally won gold in that category. That's awesome. Well, good for them, man. Maybe that'll work out well, or maybe they'll just go their separate ways. By the way, I mean, they were able to focus enough to win. That's pretty impressive, honestly.
No, it was a cool story.
Yeah, some of the margins of victory were amazing. I don't know if you saw Katie Ledecky when she won the one race. They had to back out the view. I mean, you couldn't even see humans in the pool. It was amazing.
So she owns the 20 fastest times in that race, and
is that all? So she's not very good then? Okay. Gotcha.
No, actually, no. Out of the top 40 times, I think she owns 30. I think she owns 38 of them. Out of the top 40 times that one race, she owns 40 of them.
That's unbelievable.
I was talking with my dad, and I'm like, so you're telling me that even if she just raced in one race in that race in LA 2028, that they're going to catch up to her that quickly. There's no way. Like, she could come back and swim in that race for the next probably 8 years and still dominate it.
Maybe. I mean,
like, it's kind of like Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps had so many records for so long because of how dominant he was.
Yeah.
And
you remember when they highlighted his daily meal? That he was eating like 24,000 calories a day at one point. Do you remember?
Dude,
amazing.
Dude,
like a dozen eggs or 18, whatever it was, like a dozen and a half eggs a day.
The funny thing is his coach is now training that French swimmer.
You would not want to walk behind Michael Phelps, by the way, when he was in full training mode. That's not a place you'd want to be.
Yeah,
all.
dude.
Good thing that's in the water. It gets dispersed. Maybe I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, dude. But
that's how he's so fast. I just realized that's how he's so fast. I just realized it. He's eating a dozen and a half eggs. He's out there farting in the water. That's not fair. We gotta look into this. We gotta look into this. My son would be really excited. He's all about toots and poops and farts or whatever. But
yeah, dude. But his
I don't know if the IOC is gonna love it, but we'll see.
Yeah, but Michael Phelps' coach is now coaching that French phenom swimmer.
Oh yeah, okay.
Cool.
The guy that it's and Michael Phelps is like, if he's gonna break my records, at least do it with my coach.
Hey, fair enough. Did you see the guy in SpongeBob socks? That was one of my favorite things. The runner in the SpongeBob socks. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was cool.
What about Noah Lyles running with COVID?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and almost winning.
Yeah, that's
I mean, yeah.
Talk about it, running at that level is not easy in general. And then you add 102-degree fever and COVID in there and still winning a medal.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Like
that 100-meter, by the way, that 100-meter race was insane.
Dude, that was wild.
Just the order of finish. I was like, who won? Like, I mean, even when they showed the screenshot of like the actual, I was like, okay, who won? Like, is it? I didn't know the rule. I'm like, is it feet, knees, head, chest? I have no idea.
Well, you guys have seen the clip of that college runner, right? Where the guy's like Superman dives across the line.
Yeah.
It's because it's your torso. It's your torso.
It's because someone was throwing a blender at him, so he had to. That's why he had to. Yeah. Sorry, inside joke.
That's why they lean, because it's your torso. It's when your torso crosses.
Yeah, that's what I learned in this Olympic.
Yeah.
While I was an expert yelling about the guy with his foot across, I was like, maybe he won. I don't know, but I didn't know anything. Yeah, I don't know anything. It's fine, but yeah, that was pretty cool. That was a crazy finish, and he was like actually pretty far back in that race and made up a lot of ground.
Yeah, he started the first 40 meters. He was dead last. The last 60, he was first.
Yeah, a lot of cool stories. I know we missed hundreds of them here, but man, I feel bad. We don't have time to talk about every single one. You know what I mean? I wish we did though, because there were just a lot of cool things.
I mean, Steph Curry saved USA basketball. That's all I gotta say.
He did, yeah. LeBron clearly can't play basketball. Yeah, he's just not a player.
Dude, those four threes Steph Curry made down the stretch. Dude, those are some of the best threes. Those are some of the best threes I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it was amazing.
That one over the double team on like the right, like the right wing.
Yep.
Dude.
The thing I like best about his jumper is that sometimes it looks like you accidentally hit the shoot button when you're playing like NBA 2K, right? It just like a quick release and it doesn't matter. It goes in. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, the men's and women. The women's basketball team won gold too. We should talk about that.
Dude, they haven't lost in like 60-something games.
No, yeah, they're really good. They're really good. And people were saying the whole time when they were not struggling with teams, but they played some close games. And people were like, "Oh, they need Caitlin Clark." But they didn't. They looked like honestly, they looked like they needed Angel Reese underneath more. I mean, they looked like they needed some of her attitude underneath. Like they needed that little bit of like.
Well, muscle, it's just like every sport. Like eventually, like women's basketball around the world is going to catch up to American basketball. It's going to happen. It's happened in the NBA. It's happened in females. It's happened in women's soccer.
It's great for the sport. It's great for it.
No,
we talked about it. Yeah.
Like you guys remember when USA was winning every single thing in women's soccer?
Of course.
Yep.
Like, by the way, they won gold as well. Yeah.
Yeah, they did. But like the rest of the world's finally caught up to them.
Yeah.
It's like it's happening in basketball. Like it literally took a 39-year-old LeBron James to assemble the Avengers just to win gold.
Yeah.
Like,
but that's what you want, right? That's what you want for the sport. You don't want to go out there and play Lithuania in the semifinal and watch the U.S. win 148-81. Like it's not.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I mean, the Dream Team was cool when it happened, but this is better. You know.
No, I agree, and like even USA women beating France by 1, like that's still a great game to watch. Like that's.
Yeah. It was a great game. I was had to leave. I had it on. We actually had to leave when I was watching both those games live.
Well, when the USA men's game was happening, I was at the Savannah Bananas game in Cleveland.
Okay.
And I had it on my phone, and I was watching it. And Curry hit Curry hit those threes. We're all going crazy, and people are looking at us like the game's not even going like, what are you guys?
Between innings,
like,
bro. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, like
I love the way this guy warms up. He's my favorite.
Dude, we're all sitting there like there's 6 of us. We're all getting hyped, and people are looking at us like, what are these guys doing?
5th warm up pitch slider. Yeah, it's funny, man. It's really funny.
You see the videos of Jokic like celebrating the huge like gathering and everything that they had for winning bronze. Like, man, these guys. So and again, who knows? You know, LeBron could go another 4 years if he wants. Who knows what he wants to do?
Right.
But
we'll see.
If you assume our big 3 are gone, like let's say Curry and KD and LeBron are not playing in the next year's Olympics.
Yeah.
I don't think we get gold.
I don't even think we medal.
I mean, maybe they medal, but Ben. I mean, you're right. That could happen. I mean, it depends on who takes the torch and what they do with it. You know what I mean?
And we've got 4 years to, there could be some superstar coming out in college who
Cooper Flag,
is the next generation star.
Cooper Flag, dude. Cooper Flag's gonna be really good.
I hope he is. Honestly, I hope it is Bronny. I have no problem with that.
But yeah, like you said, okay, but the way they do the selection for basketball needs to be changed, because the fact that Luka Doncic wasn't in the Olympics it's a disgrace to basketball. One of the biggest players in basketball isn't in the Olympics.
Yeah. Did he want to be though?
Yeah.
I guess Latvia just didn't win the European Cup or the Euro Cup.
No, they had to beat.
I guess I didn't think about that. Yeah.
They had to beat Greece to get in, and Greece ended up beating them to get into the Olympics.
I mean, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? So, you got to win your games, right? You got to win.
Yeah.
My dad told me this story about this country. I forget what country it was, but it's split into 3 different countries. And if it didn't split up, they would have had Jokic, Doncic, and Bogdanovic all on the same team.
Okay. So I'm guessing.
Oh.
There we go. Chad will hop back in.
But I forget what country it is. But dude, if you put those 3 on the same team with FIBA rules, they might be the best team ever created.
Yeah,
fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, we'll just move on because I don't want to embarrass myself with geography. I was going to take a guess there, but speaking of having to win, you got to
go ahead. Take a guess. Go
ahead.
No,
I don't want to do that. I don't want. You're not making me do it. Nope, you can't. You can't do it. Can't do it.
And I triple dog dare you.
College football starts in 9 days. You guys, college football is back in 9 days. Can you believe that? Like, I can't believe it. So the one thing I'm really excited about this year is the 12-team playoff. I don't know if you guys have looked into like the format of it or like anything. I've just been like really kind of reading into it, and I'm like, the more I hear about it, the more and more excited I get. Ben, I know you have an opinion on this, but Brian, I'm going to hear, like, are you looking forward to this? I mean,
I am. I like that they're switching things up. There are a few
what's your
times
favorite part as you look at the like, what's your favorite part about this?
I don't know if I have a favorite part, but I don't know. There are times in the past, I think for me, it solves a problem.
Okay.
More than one thing standing out of like how teams were selected and who was the national champion. And some of it just didn't make sense to me. And there are teams who, I don't know, they're judged by their records and they were in this bowl game, which meant more than something like, it was just weird to me. And I think this could solve a lot of just fan arguments, like inner fan arguments, like, well, they couldn't be. Well, apparently they did. They won. Yeah. They beat this. They had a clear-cut path to a championship game, and this is the structure of it.
Right.
So I'm very intrigued to see how smoothly this all goes.
Yeah. Listen, any problems are going to get ironed out on the field. I think we're just going to have to see it play out, right? Ben, you have a little bit of a different opinion. I know you aren't a big fan of the 12.
I do, but I do want to touch on the 12-team playoff really quick before I give my opinion.
Okay.
You look at all these, like group of 4 teams, right? That are like, oh, we deserve a chance. Like the year UCF went 13-0, right? Like, okay, this is your chance to prove that you can hang with the big dogs. Like they're going to put some group of 4 teams in there that, are 12-0, 11-1. Those teams, like they're going to put those teams in there that are undefeated or close to it. And I just think that it's going to prove to you how big of a gap it is between, the Power 5 and the rest of the, college football because of now because of NIL.
Yeah.
But now getting to my point, I think 12 teams is too many.
Okay.
I don't know why you jumped straight from 4 to 12. Because
it would have made a little bit of sense to stop at 8 and see how it went. I get that.
Yeah, I can see that.
And here's my reason behind it. Because with a 12-team playoff, the winner of every Power 5 conferences automatically has a guaranteed bid.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you did 8, you could still do that. Every Power 5 conference gets a guaranteed bid. And then you have 3 at-large teams that make it in. So when all you're doing is just adding 4 more teams, and then adds for a chance for just 4 more absolute blowouts. Like
maybe not. I mean, it feels like this is I don't want to say a money grab, but this is about money, right? Like you could have had
of course.
8 teams, and you could have had 9 games settle the or whatever, not 9 games, but 7 games settle the championship, right? But now you've got this whole level of intrigue added by these on what is the selection day? Is like December 10th or whatever this year.
Yeah.
The teams that get seeded 5 through 8 or whatever get to pick their site. Like they can either select a home game or they can have a game at any designated spot. So like, I thought this was interesting and it got me thinking, right? If you're Ohio State and you don't win the Big Ten or whatever, obviously a little bit of a disappointment, but you get that 5 through 8 seed. That's still pretty good, right? And you get to host a playoff game. Do you host it at the Horseshoe, knowing that it's going to be December 21st or whatever, which, by the way, Merry Christmas to us for getting to watch playoff college football around Christmas time.
Don't text me. Don't call me.
Exactly. Leave me alone. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be in front of the TV with possibly my head glued to it. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, I'm going to have to.
Ohio State. Wait, do you maybe have the game at Lucas Oil Stadium, or do you have it in Indianapolis? Because like you've got a lot of really like fast receivers, right? That don't maybe want to go play on December 21st in 6 inches of snow if that's what happens. I'm not saying that's an excuse for a loss. I'm just saying you don't want to slow your guys down if you're the fastest team in the country, right?
I think it all depends on who you play.
Okay.
Because say you play a warm weather team, right? Use the cold to your advantage.
Okay. I've got something on that, but go ahead.
You use the cold to your advantage. Like, say you play like a Florida team that's played in the warm SEC all year.
Okay.
You bring them to Ohio in the middle of December.
Okay.
Like, they're going to be freezing cold. They're going to be like, they're not going to want to hit you. They're not going to want to hit Trayvon Henderson. Not going to want to hit Quinshon Judkins. They're not going to want to tackle a 6'4", 220-pound Will Howard. Like, they're not going to want to. It's not like, and then if you
unless they're from the Midwest.
Like, but like if
that's a valid argument, Brian. But then I also think that like human biology plays a part in this because we adapt very, very quickly to our surroundings, right?
If
you're in 70, 75 degree weather for 3 or 4 days, you get used to it. And then when you go back to 40, it's very, very cold. But in 2 or 3 days, 40 doesn't feel that cold anymore.
Yeah, but if you think about it though, those teams still practice indoors.
They do. Well, maybe when you come here, you don't, right? If you know you're going to play an outdoor game in the shoe, you go practice outdoors, right? Like for 3 days and try to get used to the cold.
Yeah.
I think your body adapts quickly enough that I don't know that that's a huge advantage or whatever. Maybe it is.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think it all depends on how we play if we have more cold weather games throughout the season. Because like when
CJ's also rosters, you've got a bunch of these guys that are in Columbus right now that are from Florida, Texas, California. They're from warm weather states. So
But like if you look at previous years, like the year CJ Stroud was here, he could not play in cold weather games. Couldn't throw the ball to save his life in cold weather games.
That's fair.
He played Georgia indoors in a dome, and he makes Georgia look absolutely silly.
Yeah.
Like, and the thing with Ohio State this year is, like you said, Chad, we have some of the fastest receivers in the country.
Yeah.
But you also have 2 of the best running backs in the country. Who's going to want to tackle those guys in possibly below freezing weather in the middle of December outdoors?
Yeah, for some reason, Ohio State's not good at the grinded out type of thing. I don't know if that's an offensive line issue, but they just don't. The last couple of years, they don't seem to be able to go out and get that 1 or 2 yards when they need it.
I mean, Chad, you know this, Brian. Me and Chad talk about all the time. I was not a fan of Ryan Day calling plays. I don't think he was an excellent play caller. When he was focusing solely on play calling, he was one of the best play callers in the country.
Yeah.
But now that you had Chip Kelly, who is known for running the football and being a hard-nosed physical football team, I think you're going to see a lot of running the football with Ohio State. A lot of two-back, a lot of shotgun, with 2 running backs in the backfield, either one of them taking the ball, and you're going to have 2 receivers out wide.
Yeah. Listen, they're going to have to do something with the offensive line, and honestly, coaching and recruiting. We don't seem to be able to get that big 5-star offensive lineman the last couple of years. And I haven't seen a ton of progress from any of the guys that have been out there starting for 2 or 3 years. There have been guys that have looked okay, but you just don't really see that cohesiveness from the offensive line the way we used to see from Ohio State teams, right? The teams that have competed for a national championship.
I agree, but
I think that's where you have to get started, right?
Yeah, but like from what I've seen with Will Howard, it's like, how do you combat a team that's weak at run blocking? A lot of option plays, a lot of quick, a lot of tosses, a lot of pitches. Use their athleticism to their advantage. Don't just try and go power on power. That's not like you said. We haven't been able to go out and get that 5-star number 1 round pick.
Yeah. That left tackle, right? I almost said Orlando Pace. That would have been unfair. No one's been Orlando Pace. That's not fair to say. But like the guy, right? Like the guy, whatever. Carmen Jack, I think he was a couple of years ago. Just the guy, the best left tackle in the class is like usually not even considering Ohio State by the time it's all done.
And like I was saying, like a lot of options, a lot of quick passes, a lot of stuff like that. Like that helps protect the quarterback, and it helps you if you have a weaker offensive line. And I think Chip. I'm excited to see Chip Kelly calling plays at Ohio State. You already have one of the best defenses in the country, and I think you can have one of the best offenses in the country too.
I don't know. What's the key? The key is to get the ball to your playmakers in space, right? And let them
I don't know if you saw the clip with Jake Butt, the former tight end from Michigan. He said Ohio State is like a Lamborghini. He goes, they can beat you with some sexy plays. He goes, they can they can score fast, they can score quick. He goes, but I want to see him slow the game down, have a 10 to 12 play drive where they run the ball 11 times and score a touchdown. It takes them 9 minutes.
Yeah. He wants to see them put their butts into it. Yeah, I get it.
But I agree with him though.
Tight end, by the way, he played amazing. Yeah, can't believe it. Amazing.
But I agree with him though, because you look at former Ohio State teams like C.J. Stroud and Justin Fields. It's a lot of 1, 2, 3 play touchdowns. And it's like a 75-yard drive that takes 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like you give your no defense time to rest. Like if you can just run the ball with Henderson and Quinshon Judkins and have like a 9-play drive and give your defense time to rest, I think there's a lot more games that you could win by blowouts because your defense is going to get a lot more rest.
Yeah. And one thing I think to point out too about the football or about the playoff, the seedings, the playoff seedings are going to look very different than rankings, right? We've kind of covered that because the way they're going to do this is the top 4 ranked conference champions will get those 1 through 4 spots. They'll get those buys, right? And then the next, the next highest ranked conference champion will either be seeded at their ranking, or if they're ranked below 12th, they'll be the 12th seed. So it's kind of weird, the way they're doing it. I wanted to bring this up too, because it does one of a couple of things, actually. It's going to create some interesting matchups, but the main thing that I think this kind of alienates Notre Dame a little bit, right? Notre Dame can't get ever a 1 through 4 seed or 5, really, for that matter, right? Well, I guess they can get a 5. They can get a 5. They can't get a 1 through 4.
No, but I think I know they say they want to stay independent, but if they want one of those 1 through 4 seeds, you're going to have to move to a conference. You're going to have to.
Interesting. This kind of force the hand. Is this why they went with the 12-team format, to kind of force the hand of a team like Notre Dame to get with the program?
I think so, because when's the last time Notre Dame was good in the college football playoff? Oh wait, they haven't been.
Last time they were in, they didn't score, did they?
No, they got shut out.
Nothing, Alabama. Yeah.
It was.
There might have been another time between then and now, but
at the same time though, I also think the 12-team playoff would be good for the year we had TCU versus Georgia in the national title game, and it was the final score was 66-7. That shouldn't have happened. No,
we don't. Nobody wants to see that.
No.
Well, maybe Georgia fans did, but that's it. Nobody else wants to see that.
Yeah, no.
I'm intrigued by the home game or neutral site kind of thing. I'm really intrigued by that. That's going to be fun to see what teams do. If they select, hey, let's do it at our home stadium. Let's go to a different place. Obviously, I think it depends. I think it depends on if you're a bigger school or not, right? If you have a small stadium, maybe you want to go to a bigger facility.
Yeah.
Or we talk about the indoor-outdoor thing.
Yeah. I do want to ask you guys this though.
Yeah.
Would you guys like to see a potential potential 3 games between Ohio State, Michigan, with this whole format. I mean,
hey, if that's what happens, right? Like,
dude, that would set up for some crazy college football numbers, though. Imagine you get Ohio State week 12, and then with there being like no conference, just the top 2 teams.
Yeah,
you could get Ohio State and Michigan in the conference in the Big Ten championship game.
Yeah,
and then you could get them again in the college football playoff. That would be
even as soon as one of those first round matchups.
Yeah,
like that's amazing.
Dude,
and by the way, did you see how they're doing that? Like I said, it's December 20th and 21st. It's a Friday. There's a Friday night game at 8:00.
Yeah,
and then there's 3 games on Saturday. I think they're at 12, 4, and 8. I mean, Merry freaking Christmas!
Yeah.
Like, dude, I'm so excited about it already. I'm never excited about the end of college football, and this honestly has me more excited than I've ever been about bowl season. I don't know, and they're keeping the integrity of like the Rose Bowl, the Sugar Bowl. They're still going to try to keep those traditional matchups if they can. Which with 12 teams and conference champions, you have your choice. I mean, you can do that.
Yeah,
I think it's a good format. I think it's
but
I think it's ideal. I don't know if they'll go to 16 or not, but I think this 12 is good for right now. I think it's good.
Here's the thing. There's not much room for improvement with how many teams you add, but I could see them decreasing the amount of teams to 10 or even 8.
Yeah.
Just somewhere in there.
But I know a lot of people were upset. Ben, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I thought about this. I just wanted to say it. A lot of people were upset because they're like, well, 12-team playoff, it ruins college football because now you can lose games and get in. But not really. I mean, now with doing away with the divisional aspect of these conferences, you really have to finish in the top 2 of the conference. That's it.
Yeah.
Like you can't win the West anymore at 7-5 and whatever, 5-4 in the conference. Yeah. You can't do that anymore. No. So it really, I don't think it does that at all.
I do also want to say though that there's teams that deal with injuries early in the year and guys don't get healthy till the end. They go on that 5, 6, 7, 8 game win streak, and they're building some momentum. They're 8-3. Then say they finish the season 9-3, and say they one of their 9, say 2 of their 9 wins is against ranked opponents that are in the top 12, and you're like, okay, does this team deserve a shot? Like, they dealt with injuries beginning of the year, that's why they lost 3 games. You get to the end, they're like, okay, they're 9-3. Do we give them the 12th seed? Do we give them a shot? And it's like maybe you do, maybe you don't. But but if you give them a shot and they make a run, okay, it works. If you give them a shot and they don't, okay, they weren't one of the best 12 teams in the country.
You could let every single Division 1A, whatever, we don't use that, designation anymore. But you could let every Division 1 team into this playoff, okay? And there would be somebody at the Division 1 AA, whatever that level is now, saying, "Whoa, wait a minute, our guys went 13-0 this year. We want to come. Hey, why don't we get in it? Why don't we get a shot at big guys?" It doesn't matter where you cut it off. I was thinking in my head, well, if they cut it off at 12, team number 13 is going to be like, well, look at us. You know what I mean? But it's always going to be that way. Because the further down you cut it off, the murkier the records get. You're going to have some 2 and 3 losses.
You know what? You know what I think we should do?
What's that?
I think we should just take every single college football team, put them into a huge bracket and play, and that's the college football season.
For some reason, I've got the McDonald's video on my mind. I thought you were going to say put them into a blender. I don't know why. I don't know why you do that, but
no, but just put them onto a bracket, randomize the seeds, so you can have Akron hosting Georgia, and you just play, and that's the college football season.
Whoever's left is left, man. I get it. Just a full on just battle royale survival of the fittest. I like it.
122 team tournament. Just seed every single team, randomize the seeds.
And the teams that lose every week could devise schedules. It's a logistical nightmare. They can still play, but they would just be done.
You can steal players from other teams, add to your team.
Oh yeah.
So Akron beats Georgia. Hey, you guys, can we steal some players?
Full on free agency, man. I love it. NIL deals all over the place. Hey, before we get out of here, because I want to go pick up my kids from school. Before we get out of here for the day, I want to ask you guys, are we going to be disappointed in Ohio State if they don't beat Michigan in the regular season, don't win the Big Ten, but end up the 6th seed in the playoffs? Are we going to be
if they don't win a national title? Yes. If they still make it to the college football playoffs and don't at least make it to the national championship game, yes, it's a disappointment. Ryan Day needs to be fired.
Okay, Brian, what do you think about that? It's harsh.
Yeah, it's to still get that far. I'm trying to look at how I'd look at basketball. If a team doesn't win their conference, but they're still in the tournament. They've made it to the postseason. It doesn't feel like a failure, until, whatever the outcome, like, oh man, they didn't win this, but the goal was also to get to the next level of play. So even though they didn't win the conference, they didn't get this game, they're still able to have a postseason.
Yeah.
But I also know that that's a different conversation when you're talking Ohio State football to Buckeye fans.
Yeah.
No,
there's a level of expectation, whether it's realistic or whether it's
Yes.
fair. There's a level of expectation, and I get that.
Yes.
A lot of people would be perfectly happy with, a 1-11 season. As long as that one win was Michigan, they'd be happy with that. That's
yes.
ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That's the absolute backwards way to look at it. This is what I tell my kids all the time. I think this is the perfect way to end the show. We'll get out of here after this. Listen, you can fail at a million things. It doesn't make you a failure, right? You can fail to meet your goals. You can fail to win a championship. You can fail to win the conference. You can fail to win a game. You can fail to even score a point. It doesn't make you a failure. It just means you failed at that particular thing. I think people just wrap up too much self-worth into sports, right? Like there's no, you can fail, you can lose at things and still be a fantastic human being or an asset somewhere else, or even a great player. I mean, great players lose games all the time. Great teams lose games all the time. Failing at sports is not failure. Failing at things is not failing at a job is not failure. It's just, you just failed. Now you're going to move on to the next thing. You may be successful. You may be less successful. You may be more successful, varying degrees, right? I think life is all about varying degrees. That's it. I mean, you can't look at it as a pass fail type of thing, right? It's everything's a learning experience. Everything makes you better. Just, experience things. Don't be afraid to experience things because you're afraid to lose. That's probably the biggest key I try to tell my kids in life. I have some regrets, things I'd like to go back and do differently. And I don't want my kids to feel that way when they get to my age, so don't be afraid to fail. Just go out and fail brilliantly at everything, man, and find your one thing that you're good at or two things, whatever, and hammer that home, man.
Nope. I 100% agree with you.
Yeah. Hey, there we go. Episode home. Wrapped up the Olympics. We can talk about if there's anything you guys want to talk about. If you guys have Olympic stories you want to share next week on the show, definitely, let me know. I know we didn't hit every great story because it's impossible. There's just too many athletes.
Yeah,
but until then, next week maybe we'll get a little more in depth into college football. We'll figure it out between now and then. We can talk about something next week.
Maybe we can do like some mock
We
brackets.
didn't get the archery. You didn't bring an apple, Ben. You were supposed to put an apple.
Oh, sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, disappointing. So you've made me a liar. I said on the next show we were going to do that. Sorry. So apparently I failed at that. I'm not a failure, but I failed at bringing you the Brian shooting an apple off Ben's head on the show live. Whatever.
Brian,
I'll move on to the next thing. I'll be good at.
I'll come to Ohio Media School next week, and we'll do it in the parking lot.
There you go.
We'll do it in the parking lot.
May not be the best venue, but we could talk about that later. Okay, guys, listen. We're gonna jump off of here. Thanks so much for listening, Aiden. I appreciate you. I don't know if you're still with us or not, man, but we appreciate you checking in. As always, anybody who checked in during the show, we appreciate you. Just remember, like and subscribe, share our videos, tell your friends, tell your aunts, tell your uncles. Don't tell Michigan fans. We don't talk kindly about Michigan sometimes on the show. We probably don't want them to watch. No, I mean, bad to say about Michigan, but we're going to see there are some sanctions coming down. I honestly can't wait to get into that on the show. That's going to be a fun one.
I know. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of delusion going on and I can't wait to just maybe set some of that straight. But until our next episode, which may be next Wednesday now, or we could possibly hit a more consistent schedule now that it's back to school time. But we'll be with you soon. It'll be sometime within the next week or so. We know that. Like I said, until then, we appreciate you watching. Guys, have a great day. Go for gold.
Peace.